A violent weekend triggers a renewed call to stop the violence. 6 people were killed. Chicago's top cop says despite the perception that Chicago streets are getting more dangerous, statistics show the number of homicides has actually dropped a bit. We'll look at the latest crime report and hear from Police Superintendent Jody Weiss.
But first, the families that find no comfort in that report. ABC 7's John Garcia joining us now with more on the victims tonight. John?
So, Ron, a group of ministers today compared to Chicago to Afghanistan. But Reverend Jesse Jackson said, we've suffered more casualties here. It's led some community leaders to call for peace, specifically 28 days of peace, reminiscent of a gang truce that reduced violence nearly 2 decades ago following the murder of a young boy.
A large group of ministers gather on the street where 13-year-old Robert Freeman was killed last week, becoming the latest statistic, a murder victim in one of the city's violent neighborhoods.
We come today declaring a state of emergency. People living under a siege of terror.
Annette Freeman can relate to the terror. Her 7-year-old son, Dantrell Davis, was shot and killed by a sniper in the Cabrini Green development nearly 18 years ago as she walked him to school.
I live through this every day of my life. I can never not think about that moment. That's a part of my past. That's a part of my heart.
The murder sparked such an outrage in the community that leaders called for a gang truce to stop the violence. And it worked. Maurice Perkins was part of the group. He says there were no shootings in Cabrini Green for the next 2 years.
When Dantrell was killed, we were all embarrassed as black men that, all humanity was just being lost.
The black community as men stood up because they felt responsible.
The latest round of violence this summer has prompted a new group of religious leaders to step forward to call for a similar truce, calling it 28 Days of Peace. It began yesterday.
It intensifies the effort. It makes you realize, okay, you know what, we have to do more. We have to recruit more people of faith and goodwill to be involved.
Well, the pastors behind the 28 Days of Peace effort say they have a number of events planned for nearly every night of the month. Starting tomorrow night, which is National Night Out, that's when they will get people to sign pledges, peace pledges. This all leads up to August 28th, which is the anniversary of the murder of Emmett Till, as well as Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech and Barack Obama's acceptance of the Democratic presidential nomination.
All right, John, thank you for that.
Mayor Daley joined other officials today presenting a new plan to try to stop the deadly violence in Chicago. The mayor called violence the most immediate and pressing challenge for our city. Good evening. Kathy's off tonight. This new plan comes on National Night Out. This is an event that calls on everyone to help fight crime.
ABC 7 political reporter Charles Thomas is joining us live at the Night Out event in Chicago's Humboldt Park neighborhood. Charles.
Cheryl Allen, National Night Out is a 27-year-old observance. The 2010 event in Chicago is aimed to help give that spirit, that anti-crime spirit around the city. But it occurs during what might be called a crime controversy, so to speak. Police and city officials say the crime rate in Chicago is going down, but people who live in the most affected neighborhoods are saying just the opposite. And they gave me a reason that you should not believe the city's numbers. Westsider Dennis Hampton says he knows who robbed him a few months ago, but he did not report the crime to Chicago police in fear for his younger brother's well-being.
Well, they ain't called the police because, like the gang members, that I didn't want them to do nothing to my little brother.
Kamari Riggs was the victim in another unreported crime.
Somebody robbed me, at gunpoint. And he asked for me to pull up my shirt and everything, but that's what happened to me, and I didn't report it.
Most people we interviewed in the high-crime neighborhood around Madison Street in Pulaski did not believe the statistics quoted by Police Superintendent Jody Weiss.
For 19 consecutive months, we've had a reduction in crime, reduction in violent crime, reduction in homicides, reduction in overall crime.
Hassan Brewer accused Weiss of using the statistics to promote Mayor Daley's political agenda.
It happens everywhere. They're going to try to say it's not happening to make them look good, you feel me?
The mayor, who still hasn't decided if he'll run for a 7th term, was asked if he thought the city was safer than it was 20 years ago.
I couldn't say that because, you're going to go right out here and interview someone that just got shot.
I got stabbed 4 times. In my face, my elbow, and both of my chest.
Ariel Paxton found out just how unsafe Chicago can be 6 weeks ago when she was attacked at a West Side bus stop. She said she did call to report the crime, and says she has not lost confidence in the police.
Because if anything bad happens, I'm going to always call the police because I feel like their job is to serve, protect, right? That's what they're here for.
Increasing police and community cooperation has been a long-term goal of the National Night Out program. They'll be certain to be talking about it in Chicago tonight. Reporting live from Humboldt Park on the west side, Charles Thomas, ABC 7 News. Cheryl Allen, back to you.
All right, Charles, thank you for that report. It is an annual event, but tonight there is a sense of urgency at this year's National Night Out gatherings in the Chicago area. A string of recent high-profile shootings has left many people concerned about safety. And today, Mayor Daley described violence on Chicago city streets as the city's most immediate and pressing challenge.
ABC 7's John Garcia following the story live from Humboldt Park tonight. John?
Ron, this night out event in Humboldt Park, they're still cleaning up from it, but it's one of dozens going around the city, many more in most all of the suburbs and indeed around the country tonight. But the ones here in Chicago taking on much greater significance because of all of the recent gun violence. The huge crowd in Humboldt Park may have been drawn here by the food and entertainment, but they're also rubbing elbows with their neighbors and law enforcement.
Anything we can do to build stronger and greater bonds with the community to help build up their confidence in the police department and their trust in the police department will reap us deep dividends.
Mayor Daley says he hopes events like this help make people more trusting of police and help break the code of silence that keeps witnesses to some crimes from coming forward.
Incident after incident, a total disregard of human life. And that's what it is. And I plead with people, these are your children. You know, they're our children too.
The National Night Out event in this West Side Park is making a statement by just being here.
It sends a signal out to we're safe, come on out, enjoy National Night Out for the first time of this park.
As the mayor speaks, just a couple miles south, police respond to a shooting. A 51-year-old woman shot in the leg, a man shot in the back. It's the kind of thing a group of ministers is trying to stop with their 28 Days of Peace campaign. They're getting residents to sign peace pledges tonight.
We're looking for zero. If we have zero tolerance for everything else, we want zero tolerance for murders in this city.
Mayor Daley is among those who signed the peace pledge tonight. Earlier, he offered a number of new initiatives designed to curb violence, including more law enforcement collaboration, greater focus on an innovative program called predictive policing, and increased efforts to fight gun trafficking. National Night Out events in other towns include fire department demonstrations and other interactive exhibits designed to give people a better understanding of public safety.
There's a lot of things on TV that give a bad vibe to good things, like policemen and stuff, but, you know, everything here is very informational for him. It's really good.
An update on that shooting just south of here. 3 people were shot, none of their injuries considered life-threatening. Now back to Mayor Daley's crime-fighting initiatives for a moment. He says despite whatever efforts police can make, despite their best efforts, he says without help from residents, it will probably fail. He says residents definitely need to step up and get involved. Live in Humboldt Park, John Garcia, ABC 7 News. Ron, back to you.
All right, John.